Good evening. This is John Presco coming to you live from Springfield, Oregon. This is going to be the first of many series called Where Art Thou? And I'm going to be searching for the truth. I believe what God was saying there when he asked his first question of Adam and Eve, where art thou? That's the first question in the Bible. It's the first question from God. And I asked why he couldn't see Adam and Eve anymore. He's supposed to have this, great vision. He's supposed to be able to see me in my little apartment here. He sees you and he sees everybody. But that's not the God of the Jews. It is for Jews, God supposedly sees what we're up to. But not till Saul of Tarsus, created another God besides the Jewish God. Do we get the worship of a Jew descended from the house of Judah and David, supposedly? So when I read the Bible when I was 40 years of age, I was a follower of Meher Baba. I read his book, The God Man, read other literature about him. So I had an idea what God was supposed to be like, what he was supposed to do, what he was supposed to say. I had some idea. Meher Baba claimed that he was Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Zoroaster, all these gods that have come before, or incarnations of God. And he was the avatar of the age. And he's different from the appearance of the mere God of the Jews, who set up this very, very archaic temple that demanded that people bring sacrificial animals, purchase them, so they could be slaughtered and burned on this altar. I said, boy, I hadn't read the Bible, read parts of it. And I said, that's it? Why? Why this sacrifice? And if Meher Baba is saying that he was the God of the Jews, this doesn't fit. But then I started looking to see if Jesus, the Son of God, was all for the sacrifice of animals and birds that you purchase. There was 1 million Jews living in Rome, and probably another million in the diaspora in Greece and other lands. And every 50 years they had to come to the temple to make this lifetime sacrifice, at least one, or they wouldn't go to heaven. Oh, so there is a heaven. It's all if you sacrifice these animals, then you're going to go to heaven. If you don't, you're going to go to hell. This is a bad day, folks. I was just listening to Lawrence O'Donnell. He's raised Catholic, is a Catholic, talking about Marco's visit with the Pope. Why he's there. The President of the United States defames him, saying that he's for Iran having nuclear weapons. And I believe this is aimed at his Knights Templars, neo-Confederate followers. And I've joined these groups, and they're extremely hateful. They talk about violence against Muslims and Democrats, and they're armed. And the President of the United States declared Antifa a terrorist organization. Wow. And a lot of so-called Protestants, Christian evangelicals really hate the Pope, and they see him as a demonic entity. He's got 1 billion followers. So what I've been looking at is that Paul, who was not an apostle, wasn't as great as them. He was quite ugly, bow-legged, was telling the Jews, the Jewish, apostles, but I don't think he met them. I think that's all made. But he was telling Jews and Gentiles that Jesus was talking to him especially, giving him instructions as to what to do with the church that he's accused of embezzling money from. And the church of Corinthians says, we don't buy it. You're gonna have to show us proof that Jesus is speaking through. And he makes a threat. He says, when I get there to that church in Corinthian, I'm not going to spare anyone because you insist I provide proof that Jesus is speaking through me. Supposedly, well, this is when, I have to say it, I don't want to get into all the weaving of this lie. To get back at the church of Corinth, I think they threw him out. There were Jews threatening to kill him in his car or something. I don't believe. They said this guy's a nut, and he's a danger to our new religion, or a continuation of the old religion. So to get back at him, he makes up this story that he, as a Pharisee, and he was tight, with the Sanhedrin and, all these Jewish scholars, and they gave him permission to hunt down members of the original church and kill them and torture them. It says to get them to denounce their Lord. When I read that, I says, no way. Oh, yeah. And then they accepted him. He's considered the father of Christianity. He's the one that took the message to the Gentiles. Jesus didn't. He was just dealing with Jews and maybe Samaritan, and he went to Sidon to deal with some Phoenician matters. But that's it. He stayed there in Israel and stuff. But Paul sailed all around the world, telling the church that Jesus made him the head of the church after he blinded him on the way to murder and torture more members of the church, which are Jews, basically. And they said, oh, and Jesus forgave you? Oh, well, we forgive you. And he told you to, you're the head of the church. Well, gosh darn, why don't you just get up there behind the pulpit and lead us to the real teaching that you're still getting from Jesus. You can see this Jesus' alleged words in writing. But this is the revenge. He creates a schism in the church. And non-Jews, that members of the church, start killing the Jews in the church. This is diabolical. This is my discovery. I am a theologian. I made other discoveries. So to go with that, when you read the actual accounts of Jesus healing or ministering to people. At the end of it, he says, and don't tell anybody. Don't let the head of the Jews, the guys up there, the Sanhedrin, they'll kill me. They'll kill you. Okay, we won't tell anybody. And I go, what? I said, what the hell is that? So, and I'll get a thought like that, and it'll last for 10 years. I'm still not clear on it. I'm still trying to get this. But what it is this is written born or died. Well, wait a minute, it says here that Paul's saying that the heads of the Jews tried to murder Jesus because they didn't like his teaching. Well, how can they like or dislike it if they don't know what it is? Because Jesus has said, shh, don't tell anybody I healed you. Or you can see when you were blind. Shh. No, otherwise, they'll stop me. See, and I won't be able to go on to the next miracle, the next parable, the next riddle and teaching. There it is. That's a revelation, people. It's bullshit. It's a lie. It's not the truth. It's a lie. Because the question it's buried in the smokescreen is, how come Jesus, and they're saying he's descended from David, why didn't he get an audience with the royalty, with the Sanhedrin, and go before them and present his case? Hello, my name is Jesus of Nazareth. Well, there was no Nazareth, Bethlehem, and I am your Messiah. Did he make a case? Well, no, because Paul set up this lie, see. Did he say, I want you to worship me like you do my Father in heaven, God? I want you to build a temple around me, not my Father, around me, and worship me. And they go, are you nuts? Are you crazy? We already got God, and you say you're the Son of God, and you want to be worshipped. See, that's the key, because messiahs aren't worshipped, okay? They have a certain job, which is to restore free Israel, the children of God, from their oppressor and free them. And this time it's the Romans. So that would constitute a Messiah. That brings us to the revelations I'm having with the Latter-day Church, Christian Church of Latter-day Saints, or the Mormon Church, over the use of the Come to Me statue by Thoroldson. And the Mormons vote Republican, and their leaders, Mitt Romney, are Republicans. And what I suspect is they're getting harangued by the evangelical Christians. And we're on the border of saying that they're heretics and devils and Satanists, just like the Catholics. They're going to put them in the same boat as the Catholics. I told you we're in trouble. So they changed their logo, their image. And Jesus was like regulated to the background. In fact, I had a sister come over here and sit over there on the couch. She said, we're not really about Jesus. And they ended up giving me the Book of Mormon. Read it, tell us what you think. You're a theologian and educated person. Wow, and you're into genealogies? Yeah, I am. See, there's my family right there. And they were just really interested in the family of the Stutmeister Broderick at Twin Pines Park in Belmont. So I told them I've got maybe the largest blog in the world. And I gave them the address for it. And that was the mistake because they vanished. They don't need any more chiefs. They've already made, in 2021, they had Honcho, chief of the Mormon Church, came out with this edict saying that Christos, the statue of Christos, is going to be the main logo. It's going to be the logo, with a niche, with a statue. And that's what's on the Stutmeister tomb in Berlin. And they're very, very interested in that. But then they disappeared. And they can use the excuse that he was nuts. He was saying that he's Jesus Christ incarnate and he wants us to worship him. How insulting. Doesn't he think we know who to worship? We worship Jesus, not John. Not John. I'm telling you right now, May 7th, Jesus wasn't born to be worshipped. He never said it. He never asked the disciples to worship him. He never gives them instructions how to set up his temple around him so he could be worshipped like his Father in heaven. Okay? Well, that's because they crucified him and he didn't have a chance to do it. Well, wait a minute. He was supposed to be crucified and die for our sins, right? So he wasn't going to set up a church or anything to worship him, was he? No. Well, wait a minute. Are you trying to trick us, Mr. Presco? Now you're calling yourself a reverend? Enough of that. I'm actually tired. I've had an exhausting day. So what we're going to be looking at is this. I believe this is the book I bought from the Belmont Historical Society. That's where the money goes. It goes to Catherine McCarthy. I don't know who gets money from this. I'll find out because I got to launch a lawsuit. Because when I started posting on this is my cat. I should have fed her. You got enough food in there? I'll be done. Don't worry. I love this cat. I realized I've had it for 4 years. Oh. I've waited 2 days to open this. I got this the day before yesterday. And I didn't cut deep enough. And the family history's in there. They didn't want to tell me what it was or that they wrote a book. They just kept disappearing my posts, my photographs. They disappeared this and some others. And they said, oh, they're automatically taken down for us to look at later when we take the time to drop in, on our Facebook group, the Belmont Historical Society. So we didn't know you were there. That's all bullshit. See, see, because I got about 20 Facebook. How many groups you belong to? Oh, there's a little bell ring on your cell phone when someone posts something about you or on your page. Yes, it does, and it did back then. So Cynthia and possibly Jenny Lawher, just I think they had to know I existed. But if they did, their mind was blown. I said, "Oh my God!" So they went through my Boy Roseman Press. And they saw me posting back in 2011 about the Stoopmeisters and Carl Janke family. I got those people. She accuses me of violating her copyright. Boom, 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 boom. I mean, this is incredible. So she says it's all her fault. She gives me her email and she'll talk in private. I said, no way am I going to talk with this woman. She's accusing me of violating her copyright because I use pictures from this book in my blog. Pictures of my great grandfather and his brother. This is a historical society. Oh, isn't the Church of Latter-day Saints into history and genealogies? See, I told them on Monday that I want to get baptized, but I also want to baptize these people in the book and these people over here. And Drew Benton over here, and it looks like her light's about ready to go out. I put a votive light up there Christmas Eve, and it's still going. But it's going faint. So I thought, hey, I'm going to be in a church. I'll be a good boy. I told these two sisters I'll behave myself and stuff. If you're a theologian and a newspaper guy, and you say you're a prophet and you're proving it because you're predicting the future. I was looking at a post about the president of Estonia, this woman. I said, is she going to save the European Union? What? Is it endangered? No, it's not. You're crazy, Reverend Presco. There's no threat to the European Union. Bull. The evangelical neo-Confederate church has taken over the Republican Party, and it doesn't want the vote to continue. It's over. They used politics, democracy to take over the United States, and now it's going to be a church, a temple. That's why Trump is building the arch and the ballroom. He's going to be holding revival meetings in that ballroom. The very, very wealthy Christian nationalists are going to pay something like $100,000 to sit in that ballroom. It's over, folks. Okay. Oh, Jesus. I don't like this at all. The first words are a team effort. Why didn't I get this book 5 years ago? A team effort brought this volume to fruition. I'm greatly indebted to the following. Denny Lawher, number one. See, if I got this 5 years ago, I would be able to defend myself better and prove that I was under attack. This was published in 2014. How could they not find me on Google if they Google call Janky to see if there's anything else? Danny comes along, after 4 days. Oh, John, I just found out you've been posting here. Sorry you're going through some trouble here. I didn't know you were here. Liar. Who else was eavesdropping on the rude greeting? I didn't even get a greeting. The rude insults I got from Cynthia McCarthy. I got her email. My attorney's going to see it. Okay, when was this published? Oh my God. Look what's there. I wanted to put Drew's ashes in there, make a little monument to the Benton family. Here it is, the first picture in this book. I got a small print. Okay. Cynthia Carpa McCarthy. This is a city that's the average home is like $2,500,000. Okay. To Denny Lawhorn, Belmont Historical Society president and historian, gave me a key to the Society's museum and free reign over images and materials and answers to my many questions about the Belmont history. See, there it is. Why didn't I buy this book early? He gave her the key to the Historical Society, free reign to do what she wants with the photographs of my family. And then after 2 days of this rudeness and jealousy from Cynthia, he says, well, you didn't like he says, we're just going to take these photographs, but we don't want to hear anything about Kamala Harris being the first Black woman to be a vice president. We don't deal with Belmont history. That's bullshit. Didn't say that on the opening of the Facebook. So the Historical Society and Denny Lawhorn gives her free reign to use everything that's in there, including photographs of my family, to publish a book. And then when I show up, she flips out on me. It was very rude, accusing me of violating her copyright. And I went to the mayor. They had two mayors. I says, who owns these photographs? Is that Belmont own this? Does Belmont have a say-so? Who gets to, use my family history and photographs to make money? No answer. Did Jesus go through something like this? Mm-hmm. Supposedly. Let's see. Free reign. Oh, there is Carl Merkerstadt, former Belmont Parks and Recreation Director, and our next door neighbor, steadily provided me with introductions, background, and enthusiasm for Belmont history, and the stupendously generous John Schroer trusted me for weeks at a time with antique photographs and material of a quality that most archives keep under lock and key. God, this is worse than I could ever imagine, folks. See, when these people are your relatives, I'm an outsider, have written 2 other books that defame us and says our family members were raped as children without any proof. Should have been kept under lock and key. And Denny is saying he's going to use or take this photograph over here. I said, no, you're not. I said, if you use any of the material that I posted here and you've taken down, I will sue you. I told the city mayor and the city council. And to read about this guy who didn't keep the stuff under lock and key. See, this is evidence that Cynthia knew how valuable this stuff was. Is she related to me? No. Our son, Jesse McCarthy, a recent honors graduate from the famed history department of the University of California, Santa Barbara, meticulously proofread every draft. Our son, Shane McCarthy, a history major at the University of California, Berkeley, joined his father and brother in suggesting better words and phrases. So this book was written by the McCarthy family. She thought, that this was her day, that her and her family are going to be famous after this book is published. Now, what year did I show up? 2018 or 2016? Of course, she said, he's going to steal my family's fame. Just when we were going to become famous in Belmont, the McCarthys, they did this book. They took that bastard John Presco's family photograph and turned them into famous people. No one knew about them. Let's see. A heartfelt thanks to the following people and organizations for images and information: the generous Kathleen M. O'Connor, provincial advisor, and Mrs. K. McCall, volunteer Sisters of Notre Dame de Namur. The sisters helped out. Belmont, Deborah Kaufman, Library Reproduction Reference Associate, Mary Morgan, North Baker Research Room, California Historical Society, Rita Gleason, former Notre Dame Belmont High School principal, Nicholas Merriweather, Grateful Dead archivist, University of California, Santa Cruz. Okay. How long are we into this, huh? How long? 34 minutes. See, they got to examine me. See, my blog was an open book. None of my family's history is in there. So they made a judgment. All these people got together. that are named here, see, including members of the city council, maybe the mayor. I said, this guy could be trouble for us. And they stopped responding to me. Okay? Oh, there's more introductions. Okay, let's see when. Okay, there's the stagecoach that my family owned. There's my grandfather and his brother. And there's the wagon for the soda works. And the train that brought customers to the Carl Janke theme park, which is the first theme park in California. See, how come Jenny Lawhorn didn't welcome me? How come Cynthia or him never asked about the Stoopmeisters? I posted pictures of my daughter, my grandson, and I in the family crypt at Coma didn't ask about it. How about my sister's Christine? Did they talk about her, ask questions about her? No. Not with me. But they went onto my website, didn't they? They went on No.1 Press. They looked. They were cherry picking. But then they said, we got to get something on this guy. What can we get? Oh, wait a minute. Is he saying he's Jesus Christ incarnate? Oh, wow, we got nothing to worry about. When his lawyer takes us to court, we'll just say, well, Your Honor, we had to 86 Mr. Presco, because he was saying he wants to be worshipped like Jesus Christ. And we already have a church where we go to worship Jesus. We love to. I think Mr. Presco is Lucifer or Satan. See, that's what they did to me. Tarred and feathered me in the name of Jesus, huh? The name of history. That my family created. They're the founders of Belmont, not Cipriani. They were the builders. There's, except for Ralston, the man who built San Francisco. They got a lot of his stuff here. And he lived there. Did he know the Janke family? Oh, yes, I'm not a citizen either. I'll find out where the McCarthy family lives. See, I think they were aware of me 3 years before 2014, maybe even longer. Maybe they saw my stuff I posted on Roy Rosenmund Press in 2011. Maybe that's where somebody got the idea. Well, wait a minute. Maybe we ought to get someone to write a book and get these photographs. Yeah, it looks like Mr. Presco is a bohemian beatnik hippie who took LSD with Ken Kesey and that bunch. We don't want those people in our town. Yeah. Sad. This is what you call historic usurpation and theft of someone's history, and the ostracization of a great-great-grandson of Carl Janke. And that goes for my daughter, my two grandchildren, and my late brother, my late sisters. Christine Rosamund Benton was a world famous woman artist. And I don't think she's in this book, do you? This is a sad day. And the Pope is meeting with this creep, Marco, by his boss, defames him, makes him out to be a co-terrorist with Iranian terrorists as he rips people off for billions. It's just as bad as it gets. Okay. See, I gotta shut this off here.